Hi all, it's Piotr again. This time, movie that one of you, Jeffrey Hanuca, asked me to do about my top 20 of my collection, my opinion, what is the best about it in my opinion, so it will be 21, not 20, but 21, and you will see why, because of Avengers Galactic Storm. Let's start with the first album, that is top in my opinion. That would be, of course, X-Men, the Dark Phoenix saga. Some of you may say God love, man kills. But that was about the mutants as a race. But the Dark Phoenix saga for me is about the team, the family that are X-Men. So that is why it's number one for me. It always will be the Dark Phoenix saga. Number two, Omnibus by Roger Stern, Spiderman of course. Nothing can stop the Juggernaut, the kid that collects Spider-Man. Wow, it's just amazing run. Of course, Hobgoblin. It's from my childhood, so I love this story. Those stories that Stern created, and I still believe that he's the one of two or three the best writers that created Spider-Man stories for us. On the third place for me, my personal third place, X-Men Executioner's Song. When I read it in single issue, it was wow. It was amazing for me that all the players, all the stories can connect themselves, and to the both heroes, Jean Grey, Scott Summers, it all connects, and it gives the future for bad future because of the legacy virus, but still it was full of emotions. Again, good story. That is something that sometimes we are missing these times. On fourth place, Infinity Gauntlet. Do I need to say why? It's just amazing because of the enemies that our heroes all from the globe need to fight. And of course, because it was in some interpretation of it in movies. So for me, it was pleasure to see how Captain America and Thanos fight. And it was not just that. It could be for someone say that Thanos was okay, he's right, he need to kill half of the population of the multiverse. But for some, it was wrong that need to be corrected, and it was the highest of the hero fight against enemies, villains that needs to be seen and read often, very often. Next. Fifth place, Crisis on Infinity Earths. I did not read them in single issues before, but in this hardcover edition, it's beautiful, shown how the all myriads of multiverse of DC Comics became one planet, one Earth, one universe. It was the point that I started to read the DC Comics in album form, because later we have Superman, Batman, Flash. It all starts here. So it was great point. It is still the great point to read all DC Comics. On the sixth place, Superman, the Death and Return of Superman. In one of the best DC stories I ever had the pleasure to read. I had it in single issues, I had it in albums, and still this final version of Omnibus shows why Superman is the best hero of DC Comics. It always comes to him, and his fight for survival, his death, and his return. It's full of emotions. It's beautiful for me. Next we have Spiderman Kraven's last hand. For most of people, it's very high on the ranks. So for me, it's just going inside the mind of the villain and Spider-Man himself, how he crawls back to be alive, and what his enemy did in his absence. It was mostly the game of minds, but after all, it was the last hand of the one of the enemies of the Spider-Man. So very good stuff to read. On 8th place, World War Hulk Omnibus. Why? Because it's Greg Pak and John Romita Jr. and it's all about revenge. Hulk coming back from space. Emotions, action, you got it everything here. You have great, the best, I think, the only one time when X-Men used the alarm, the code red, to call all the X-Men around the world to come to stop Hulk and save Professor Charles Xavier. So for me, it's all about revenge of Hulk on Illuminati, and I really love art on this album. It's phenomenal for me. Next, Wolverine by Mark Millar. Enemy of the State, with one neck between that and the next Old Man Logan is issue 32. It's great. If you never read that each single issue, for most of the readers it should be phenomenal how the Wolverine, his old times during the war, it's wow. It's just something that we need to read because to see how this person, that is Wolverine, can do work, not using even his claws very often. But of course, Enemy of the State, that Wolverine dies and goes on spree and kill. It was freaking Amazon for me. And then of course the Old Man Logan, wow, that's wow, for me at least. Well, you might ask what is doing Spider-Man versus Venom here? Well, it is because of the maximum carnage. This omnibus covers it, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best stories how Spider-Man fights for normal human beings till the end. But he have friends, so if you never read the Maximum Carnage, it's 90s, but still great story to read. Next, Annihilation, the fresh start for Cosmic of Marvel Universe. Something that made a lot of people coming back to read the comic books, especially about the cosmos. It's fresh, new, and you never stop wondering what will happen next. For me, it's essential to have it in collection and read those stories. On the 12th, we have Secret Warriors by Hickman. If you ever read Hickman, maybe you have the Avengers, New Avengers and Secret Wars by him. This is the way it starts. Then next we have the Fantastic Four by him, but in my opinion, Secret Warriors, that where the kids are prepared to fight for example, the Skrull invasion, and of course the main event fight between Shield and Hydra, who is controlling who. It was mastery by Hickman, so check it out please. 13. Captain America, Volume 1 by Ed Brubaker. Winter Soldier, of course. It's freaking awesome to have it in my collection. I have all of the omnibuses, but still I love to come back to it and check that you can do in modern times great story about Captain America. Next place for me is Thor, Mighty Thor by Walter Simonson and Sal Buscema. I know that some of you don't like Sal, but for me it was something that I really enjoyed to read, the confrontation between Surtur and Odin, on all those interactions between Loki and Thor. For me it was great, and this is the main run for Thor for me. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man by J. Michael Strachanski, Vol. 1. Why this omnibus? Well, we have here this great issue in 9/11. We have May Parker finding out that he is Spider-Man. We have great celebrations of his birthday. We're going forward to the future, seeing what he will be from Mother Earth, of course, but still he don't know that at this point. We have Ezekiel. So it's quite a lot of from Michael Strachanski to have this fresh approach from magical side of Spider-Man. He have great enemies in that issue, but mostly he's coming back as a teacher to the school. And that is something that Spider-Man never really moved forward to be the professor or something to teach the next generation of kids. And in this issue we have Morlun that is vital for the next story, Other, in the next volume. And if you wish to see why this omnibus is controversial, because we have scenes of past with children of Gwen Stacy and Norman Osborn. I know it's a lot of controversy, but it moves forward and it ties to the past. Why did Gwen Stacy die? This is, for me, it's great, and I know it's controversial for a lot of people. Next, 1617 is Avengers, the Galactic Storm. I have it in 2 volumes, I know it's in 1, but for me it's a quintessential story about who the Avengers are, why they are, and what they need to do to protect Earth. We have Shi'ar, we have Kree, mass murderer of one of the planets. So it's something that needs to be avenged by Avengers. So check it out. I really loved its old story, but still it's in the times when the Gatherer Saga is the second best story according to me you can read. But still Galactic Storm always win. Next, Punisher, Suicide Run. Well, I know it's not for everyone the best, but for me, Punisher Frank had a plan, gather all the villain enemies, mobs, and kill them in one single move, and he did that. So for me, it's something that Punisher is about finding, killing, and he had a plan in that, so it's freaking awesome for me. Next, Infinity Crisis Omnibus. It collects all the story. As we had the Crisis on Infinity Earths, this is a continuation in some way. Heroes were comebacks from that period of time. And it's about the trust issue between heroes, between Trinity. Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. But for me, it's on all levels great story because we have the gathering of villains, we have Lex Luthor. So it all nicely, one of the best stories from our times from DC in one single omnibus. Please check it out because if you never read it, it's very, very good. At least for me, it's my opinion. But if you watch this, so I hope you will enjoy. And 2 last places: Green Lantern, Sinestro Corps War. For me, it's the best Green Lantern story you can read in one album, big album, or in 2 soft covers, if I correctly remember. Good, but still, it's Kyle Rayner, Sinestro, Falan, Parallax. So it's quite anti-monitor. Wow, so you have Superboy Prime. So you have all the good and bad stuff, villains of course, that can happen to DC Comics. in one single album, and for me it's a great story, really one of the best I can always read from Jones, with Van Cyber art. It was freaking awesome, so I know I use it often, but it's amazing for me. And last place, History of the Marvel Universe. If you never had it, it's Wade, Rodriguez, and Lopez showing us the history of all aspects of heroes from Marvel history, all the way to the, we can say, King in Black even, because it's this, they show us the future. So it's greatly done. I can show you if you wish for a moment. It's big splash pages. At the end you have all the connections, where the story page was from. So you have all from the beginning. It's a very big album, but for me, something that it's the best of the showing the past, present and future of Marvel Comics at all. So that was my opinion, what in my collection is best to read. Not very often, not every 2 years or 3 years, but every year I'm trying to get all of them, because they make me smile, because they show that you can do good comics and have fun with them.